Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Fold 6 and see how this particular phone holds up in 2025. Now, this phone is barely even a year old now. It's still a very good phone, to be honest with you, but with their whole entire folding phones, there's always been some interesting things that have kind of gone on with these particular, devices. So we'll take a look at these particular, phones throughout the whole entire video and see if they're still worth buying, if they're not, and maybe some other recommendations I would have. Now, number one, if you do want to go ahead and pick up some phones that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. This phone originally came out back in 2024. So like I said, it's barely even a year old right now, and this thing still looks and feels very, very good. We did end up getting like the successor of this, phone very recently. So that was something that was really nice to see. But within this type of phone, you're basically getting a 7.6-inch foldable dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So that right there is easily probably one of the cooler things going on for this type of device when it comes down to it. So this type of phone is still giving you like a really good type of display, but then this cover display is 6.3 inches. So it's giving you a cover display, which I think it looks really nice, but then it's also giving you that other display too. So I feel like from that in and of itself, this type of device still overall gives you like a really good type of experience. Again, maybe it isn't perfect or anything, but I would imagine that if you are going to go through and like get a phone, the novelty of this phone being like a folding device that gives you like a way bigger display when you're done with it and you can kind of mess around with it, I do think that is like a really nice thing. But at the same time, the folding mechanism might not be my favorite thing in the world because you do have to go through and kind of just get used to unfolding it and folding it. But I still think it is a really nice It's a really nice type of idea that Samsung had, especially with them keeping the same brightness and 120 Hz refresh rate all throughout. I mean, they're very nice panels. The crease doesn't bother me that much either that's inside of it, so that's like another one of those small things to keep in mind there. Now, on top of that, if you're looking at these types of devices, I think another very important thing to keep in mind here too is that when you are kind of taking a look at these phones, they're giving you USB Type-C ports on the outside, which is always kind of expected nowadays. You're still going to be able to go through and get like a very good type of build quality and a very good type of experience from that side as well. So this type of device, like I said before, still holds up fairly well. And you are getting that frosted glass back, which is also another nice thing. And Samsung could have easily gone through and like kind of cut corners here and there with the way this type of phone, kind of performed a little bit. But I think they did an overall pretty good job with the overall build of this phone. And I think that is kind of one of the nicer things. And you're also still going to be able to go through and still be able to maintain a, like a really good build quality. The frosted glass back inside of this phone is also another one of those really nice things going on inside of this type of device as well. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, like I mentioned, it is still a really good type of device that does actually do a good job at kind of holding up and kind of performing decently well in a lot of different ways. So I feel like from that side, that is kind of one of those really cool things to keep in mind there as well. So from that side, I will tell you from the exterior, this phone still feels and looks great. But as I mentioned before, one of the things you're going to have to remember is that as you're kind of going through and buying some of these other types of devices, you're going to have to remember that these phones, they might not hold up the best when it kind of comes down to its, other types of build qualities or other types of experiences. So it's always been one of those small things to keep in mind there. But, I still think it's a good feeling phone. It still looks great. And I think it is a good phone kind of at the end of the day. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. Now, when it comes down to the camera side, this phone is basically giving you a triple camera setup on the backside. So it's giving you a 50 megapixel wide, a 10 megapixel telephoto, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And it's giving you a 4 megapixel camera under the display cover camera, and then a 10 megapixel wide angle camera. So from that side, I will say this camera does do a pretty good job. I mean, it's a really, really good type of camera, right? Like I feel like if you're going to go through and like buy a phone, this thing does a really good job at giving you like a really good solid camera for the most part. Now, is it perfect? Probably not, but it's a good camera. It gives you 8K on the back and it gives you 4K at 60 on the front. But for the price of this phone, right? Like if you're going to go through and buy this phone, it isn't a cheap phone, right? It's a fairly expensive type of device. It's going to cost quite a bit of money. And this has always been one of my biggest caveats, I would say, with these types of devices. With these types of phones, you're basically getting a type of device that's going to be giving you a little bit of a different type of experience. because the camera isn't really as great as something like a, Galaxy Fold or as like a Galaxy Ultra or anything like that. So you're kind of getting this like good camera, but it's not really that great. It's going to be like kind of like this like average type of lens when it kind of comes down to it. And that's always been one of my biggest downsides, so to speak, of getting a device like this. So like the device itself is going to be like kind of okay, but it's not really going to be that great. And I feel like that is, again, one of the bigger types of problems you're going to be experiencing here if you're going to be going through and getting this type of device. So, I will say the camera is good, but it's not really that great. And that in and of itself could end up being one of the main problems you might be experiencing here inside of this type of device when it comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. Luckily for us though, when it comes down to software longevity, this type of device is going to be supported with software for quite some time. So this thing is just getting started with software support. We're probably going to be getting many, many years of software support inside of this thing. So I will tell you that is one of the bigger advantages of getting a phone like a Samsung Galaxy Fold 6. So whether you buy the Fold 6 or you buy the Ultra, S24 Ultra from last year, you're getting the same amount of software support. So I will tell you that is a nice thing going on for this type of device. But like I said, at the same time, it still might make more sense to maybe go buy some other types of devices when it comes down to it as well. So at least from that side, that kind of covers it up there. One of the nicest things though going on for the Samsung Galaxy Fold 6 is basically when it comes down to its performance. These types of phones give you really good types of performing chipsets inside of them. So I feel like that is in and of itself another one of these really nice things to keep in mind here as well. You're going to be able to go through and get a really good type of performing device inside of it. And I feel like that in and of itself is going to be a really nice thing that kind of happens here inside of this type of device. So you're going to be getting that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So this type of device from that side, it is going to be giving you a really good type of performing phone. And like I said before, I think that is kind of one of the nicer things going on here. If you're going to go through and like pick up really any device, this is going to be one of the nicer things here. So it's going to be fast. It's going to perform really, really well. And I know if I'm in the market and I'm going to try to buy a phone, this thing's going to do a really good job from that particular standpoint. Again, maybe it won't be necessarily perfect, but it will still get the job done. And I know that will definitely be a phone I can look at and definitely feel like I'm getting a really good device when it comes down to it. So at least from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. So what I can definitely tell you in my personal, is that if I'm going through and buying a phone, it definitely does make a lot of sense to go through and buy a device that is still going to be, up there in terms of being supported with software, still giving you a lot of capability and all that stuff. So I feel like from that side, this phone does do a good job at kind of giving you a lot of good stuff all across the board, right? Maybe it isn't perfect and maybe it doesn't give you like the most amount of capability and everything for the most part, but I still feel like if you're going to go through and like pick up a device, this thing does actually give you like a good type of, capability for the most part. Like it isn't necessarily like a terrible performing device or anything like that. Like this thing still gives you like a good type of, capability chipset and everything like that. So I will tell you this would be necessarily one of the phones I would buy. Again, it isn't necessarily perfect, but it is one of those types of devices that I would probably recommend buying in 2025. But I feel like the Samsung Galaxy S25s, the S25 Ultras, those phones are probably going to be giving you an overall better type of capability and better type of experience rather than this one. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.